Sun salutation level 2. There's no need for the knee cushion in this one, so I'm going to remove it. Once again, there is no chaturanga in this one. We are preparing for chaturanga maybe 6 months from now. So this is the second level. There's a little bit more strength required because we have a down dog and we have a plank. I'll talk you through it. Feet, once again, hip distance apart and parallel, second toe pointing forwards. Hands down by the sides. We exhale, take the hands into a prayer position at the front of the chest. Inhale, float the hands forwards and up or out and up. Exhale, dive forwards, bend the knees generously, hands come out to the sides, forward fold, and when you forward fold, lift your sit bones just a little bit. It doesn't mean that the legs straighten. Inhale, take the hands to the shins, squeeze your shoulder blades together, reach the top of your head forwards, your tail back. If you can do this with straight legs without curling, fantastic, but most people can't. So we're going to keep a little bend in the knees. Exhale, that deep forward fold again. My fingers are level with my toes. They are not forwards. Inhale, I'm going to lift the left leg, but I'm going to hover it. So I want you to take your time before that leg comes to the floor. And then the other leg moves back to it and we are in a high plank. Knees come down to the floor by rolling onto the tips of the toes. Elbows pull towards the ribs. Chin and chest down. The legs straighten away again. Inhale, and we have a little bit of a higher cobra this time, where the bottom ribs lift off the floor, shoulders are pulling back, little fingers pressing into the mat. Exhale, curl the toes under as you lift the pelvis, move the pelvis almost to the heels, and then slide your pelvis up the wall behind you. Heels stay high for downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for 3 to 5 breaths, but I want you to do a body check every time. Are your feet still pointing forwards? Are they hip distance apart? Are your sit bones reaching as high as possible? If that means reaching the heels high, also so be it, and if that means the knees bend, absolutely fine. Your shoulder blades should not be squeezed together, but neither should they be pulling too far apart. They're halfway. The elbows are really straight. This is the hard bit. You're going to lift your right leg and you're going to swing that leg into your right hand. You're going to exhale, take the second leg in, hip distance apart to a full forward fold, knees stay bent, hands come to shins. Inhale, reach the top of the head forwards, the sit bones back. Exhale, you have a deep forward fold. My fingers are in line with my toes. Inhale, I'm going to take my hands out and all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, my hands come back into a prayer position. I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to give you some options for the step forwards from downward facing dog, because this is the bit that your students and you will find the most difficult. I exhale, take my hands into a prayer position at the front of my chest. Inhale, take my hands forwards and up or out and up. Have a look at them. Exhale, I'm diving forwards. Everything is moving outwards. My bottom is moving backwards. My chest is moving forwards. My fingers are moving away from each other. Good generous bend in the knees. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift the sit bones without straightening the legs. Exhale, deep forward fold again. Inhale, I take my other leg back. I hover it here. I want this to be a slow release to the floor, as if I was going to do a high lunge, but I'm not. Other leg comes back. I have a high plank. I roll forwards on my toes, I drop my knees, I draw my elbows in, chin and chest comes down, then the legs slide away. Inhale to a cobra, lower ribs are off the floor. Exhale to a downward facing dog. Checking once again, toes, sit bones. So I'm able to put my heels down because I have very short legs and I was a dancer. So I'm able to put my heels down and lift my pelvis. So look at what my pelvis is doing. It's tilting forwards and backwards. Most people, as they tilt the pelvis up to the ceiling, their heels will lift. That is no problem whatsoever. Here's the problem. We have choices here. If you have the strength through your core, you can slowly lift that leg, slowly take that knee into your nose and slowly put it onto the ground inside your left hand. If you don't have the strength, you can use your elasticity. And your elasticity happens with the rhythm. So the rhythm of the lift and move forwards is really important. If I do this really slowly, I don't have the elastic recoil to bring that leg forwards. If I do it too fast, I end up kind of hopping off the floor. There is a Goldilocks moment where everything springs up and then springs forwards. So that is your second option. Third option. If it only comes to here, it is no problem. But I need you to pick it up and put it inside your left hand. Exhale, the right foot comes hip distance away from the left. I'm keeping my knees bent. Inhale, hands onto shins. Really nice flat back as I lift my head away from my sit bones. Exhale, deep forward fold. Inhale, I'm taking my hands out and all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands come back into the prayer position at the start. So I want you to do 10 of those for the next week. Here's what I want you to concentrate on. The hands are not forwards of the feet, they're in line with the feet. I want you to pause. I want you to feel this in your glutes before you take that leg to the floor. So I don't want this to be a fling. I really want you to explore that glute action to lower. You're going to need it later in any flow exercise or any flow sequences that you do. I want you to try this a few times. So nothing happens except my knees come to the floor as I roll over my toes, and then chin and chest, all 10 toes on the floor. And finally, I want you to try the step forwards from downward facing dog. Try it all 3 different ways. One is muscular, knee into nose, placing the foot on the floor just inside the hand. The second is myofascial, it's elastic, where there's a little spring and it comes forwards, tiny bit of momentum there. And the third one, I want you to try it, even though you don't need it. I want you to take your leg halfway and then pick it up and bring it to where it needs to be. Because I want you to understand what other people might need to do in their sun salutations. That's level 2 sun salutation.